Today's video, we're gonna be talking about how to set up your Google Ads account, especially if you haven't done Google advertising before. This is a video you definitely wanna take a look at. This is the first step if you wanna start advertising on Google to get leads and sales. This is what you need, okay? So first, you need a Gmail account. So why do you need a Gmail account? As you know, all the Google properties are interconnected by a central account, a specific Gmail account. So if you want to use a Gmail account that's specific to your business and you want to create one, then you definitely want to do that right now. Okay, so we're in my screen right now, and if you're seeing here, if you go to ads.google.com, you're going to see something like this. Obviously, depending on what country you're watching from, obviously the language is going to vary. If you already have a Gmail, let's say for personal use, and you're starting out with your business, then create an account for your business. Once you create an account, then you'll want to sign in. Okay, once you're signed in, this information here, that it's nothing that you need to be concerned about. You need to actually create a new Google Ads account. So once you create a new account, so you hit that option, you're gonna see something like this. So it says, let's get started. What is your business name? Very simple, very basic. You just go through this process. So obviously this is gonna be a test account. So test is Inc. The second thing that you need is your website or your landing page URL that you're going to be using for advertising. So in this case, we're just going to type in this one here. Now, if you have a website that already has analytics, okay, and it has tracking in place, you're going to see that with this option, which is the AdWords Express, okay, you can see here in the URL says Express. This is the fast way to setting up your account, okay? But I'm going to show you what you need to do after you've actually finished the setup, or quote unquote finished the actual setup, because you're not quite done there yet. But you want to just follow the steps here. Again, we've already just given the business name, the website. Next, it's your advertising goal. Okay, so what should your main advertising goal be? You need to really understand your business, right? And be clear on what you're looking to accomplish based on the vertical that you're in, first of all, and what you're looking to accomplish, right? So if you are a company that wants to get more phone calls, okay, then you would just hit more phone calls, right? Very straightforward. Obviously, you want to get more websites and sales. This would be the most sound option. If you are a local store, let's say a brick and mortar store, then it might make more sense for you to get more visits to your physical location. And just keep in mind that this is just an initial goal, so it's not something that is fixed. So don't be thinking like, okay, which one should I use? Don't be confused or don't overthink it. You can always change this on expert mode, and that's something that we're going to cover after this, right? So this is just the initial setup for your account, and then we're going to be talking about switching it to expert mode in a bit.
Hey, really quickly, do you want us to run your ads for you so that you can get results like this, or this, or this, or this? In that case, check the top link in the description down below, and now back to the video.
Here, there's also get more views and engagement on YouTube, so there's various options, right? So in this case, I'm just going to go with this option, get more website sales and leads. Okay, there you go. So notice that Google is now automating a lot of this process, and they're scraping your site, they're scanning it to see what type of information you have on the website in terms of tags, right? In terms of analytic tags. So in this case, they did find an analytics account on the website. So basically, they're asking me if we're good by attaching this Google Analytics account, right, with this Google Ads account to essentially understand the visitor engagement, measure monitor results, optimize for better performance, make data-driven decisions. So obviously we can do accept and continue, and that will basically synchronize the analytics account with this Google Ads account. So notice that they give you this option to write an ad. So the main reason is they don't want people to just kind of create their accounts and just, kind of forget about it. They want you to be proactive. And this is really built for the busy business owner, right? Where, you want to advertise, you want to spend money on showing your ad to potential customers, then they want to make it as easy as possible for you to jump in front of this traffic, right? And this is the way that they do it. They make you write your ad right away. So obviously, I'm just gonna go through this here very quickly. So the next part here is the add keywords theme to match your ad to searches. So notice that they come up with a suggested keyword themes based on what they just scanned on your website, and they have an idea of what you're offering. So they do do give you some pretty generic ideas. So obviously you can go in here and write them out, but again, we're gonna learn how to set up this Google Ads account in a more professional way, so that way you don't have to abide by this Ad Express account. So here's the regions area. This is where you obviously choose the geo-targeting, where you want to target, what cities, zip codes, states, or countries, the amount of budget that you want to do. Notice that this currency, we can kind of obviously set it up as USD. It's not the right currency. So again, it's very, very basic, very simple. And you can see here that this is basically the last bit of it. Now, after that, it's gonna ask for a billing information. It's gonna ask you for a payments profile. So you're gonna need to add some information around your business. Okay, it's gonna ask information around your organization, right? If you have an established business, what the address information is, address info, all that good stuff. And that is the steps that you need to basically complete this Express. Now, most people, again, they'll go through this and they'll end up giving all the information. Now, what I'm saying is it's gonna be a better fit for you if you go back and change this to expert mode, okay? So I'm gonna show you how to do that now. So notice that it says here, your professional marketer, switch to expert mode. So obviously, if you're watching this video, you probably are not a professional marketer, but that's okay. You're gonna at least learn how to set up the campaign this way. So this is just the basic. We just went through the basic of setting up your Google Ads account, okay? It's submitting the information. Once you submit your information, you're gonna see that your campaign, it's gonna go live like right away. As soon as you add the card in there, the actual smart campaign will go live. So what you'll wanna do is hit this button that says switch to expert mode, and now you're gonna see an account that looks like this. Okay, so with this account, you're gonna have different objectives. So it's gonna be very similar. You could also create an account without a campaign. To set up the account, as you can see, it's very basic, but you're still gonna need to create that profile. This is here. You're gonna get says, congrats, you're done. So obviously you're not completely done, but you can at least explore your account and you will see something like this. This is actually a different mode, a different appearance. You can change it up. If you wanna start exploring the way that Google Ads, their interface has changed to, that you can do so. Here's a couple of videos, some intro videos about the Google Marketing Live. But again, you can change this appearance as well. This is the previous design, which I'm used to seeing. Let's say I don't like the new feel. You could actually go back to this design and you can see all the settings here. So here's the campaigns, right? You have all of this information. Notice that you have these warning signs telling you your campaign is paused. Before you even launch a campaign, you're gonna need to set up the billing. Okay, that is the first thing. You're not gonna be able to publish any campaigns before you set up the payments. Okay, so that is the main thing that you want to do. But that's pretty much it. Once you have your account set up, you have the opportunity to create the campaigns. You can do a new campaign, and this is where we start the campaign creation process. The actual setup is very simple, right? It's not rocket science, and you can simply follow step by step. If you want to do the express mode, where you want to just kind of get the campaign launched and live, then do the express mode, right, and answer all these questions that you saw on this video. But if you want to switch to the expert mode, and you want more control, you want more options to manage the different video search display networks, you want to switch to expert mode. The express mode, you're very limited to what you can advertise and which formats, which placements to use.
Guys, in this video, we're going to walk you through how to set up Google Ad conversion tracking with GTM or Google Tag Manager. If you're running Google Ads, running YouTube ad campaigns right now to drive conversions, if that is your goal, you need to set up Google Ads conversions, okay? If you don't, you're not gonna know which campaigns are generating the results, right? So some of you guys may be using third-party tracking, and that's fine, but you want Google Ads conversion added because that is what feeds the algorithm and what's gonna help you make optimization decisions as well when you are optimizing your campaign. Okay, so we're gonna dive into my screen and we're gonna look at GTM. The things that you need before setting up Google Tag Manager is make sure that you have the conversion actions page open, okay, because this is what you're gonna use to create these conversions and to synchronize them with GTM. So that's the first thing. And then the second thing, whatever funnel builder, right, landing page builder you're using, you wanna open that as well because you're gonna be adding some script to those specific pages. First things first, we do want to add the GTM script, right? So you want to go to tagmanager.google.com. If you don't have an account, you want to create one. That's the first step, is creating an account. So you go to tagmanager.google.com. That's step one. Step two, you want to add the script to your funnel. There are a couple of ways to do this. One is you go to admin and then you go to install Google Tag Manager. And you have this script here. Okay, so you want to read the instruction. You want to paste this code as high as in the head of the page as possible, or where you're installing it. And then we have another code here that's after the opening body tag. So you can do it from here. There's also another way, a faster way, is this is your GTM code. You can just kind of click it, and there you go. Easier access, right? Want to work smarter. So here we have this code. I have my funnel builder. In this case, we're using Unbounce. So let me just go back here so to show you. So these are the test pages we're using, right? So this is a test page that we're using here. I hit edit. This is obviously going to be looking, it's going to look different to you depending on what funnel builder you're using. But here, JavaScript, and notice I already added it here, but it's the same process, right? So I'll erase it, I'll just add it again. Okay, this is the GTM code, and notice the placement is on the head, but we're not done yet. So the next script that we want to add is this one after the opening tag, and that's the one that we added here. Okay, and it should actually be after the opening tag. If you have doubts, go ahead and confirm. It says after the opening tag and hit done. Then you obviously want to save it. So yeah, so this is just a sample page. It's obviously just for an opt-in, people to get this guide. It's like a lead magnet type of funnel. Okay, there you go. So we added the script in here. The next step that we need is to create the conversion action. So we have created a few in here. By the way, since we are talking about conversion actions, I do want to give you guys some tips that come directly from Google Growth Reps. A lot of you might have multiple conversion actions like this, and this is obviously just a test account that we're using, but even then, like all of these actions here set as primary is not the best practice for setting up your conversions. I know this may sting a little bit to some of you if you have multiple conversions set up primary, right? If you basically have something like this, right? You can see there's just a whole bunch of conversions here, but what Google says that is a best practice is you want to limit it to just one main conversion action that you want to optimize your account on. If it's purchases, for example, then you go by purchases, right? But you don't want to have multiple primary conversion actions, because what ends up happening is the algorithm gets confused and it doesn't know what to optimize for. And typically it will optimize for the easiest conversion that it can get. So in this case, for example, notice that we have outbound clicks here. This is just like this is a custom conversion, and we also have engagement. So what happens is if we optimize based off of this, or if these are set as primary and these are the easiest conversions that it gets, it's going to optimize for this. Okay, and it's going to try to get you more traffic of people that will end up doing this conversion, taking action on this, but that's not necessarily what you want. So in this case, what we want is the opt-ins, for example, right? So these are obviously examples, but I'm just gonna set up the conversion action to show you, and I'm just gonna open one up real quick here to show you what I'm talking about in terms of the action optimization, okay? So the action optimization, it tells you this. This action will be optimized for and reported in the conversions column by default, and anytime the submitted lead goal is used in your campaigns. So remember, on your campaigns, you could actually set it up in a way that it just optimizes for specific actions that you want, that you want to aim for. Okay, that's the whole point of this. If I put it as secondary, then it's just secondary. It won't be used by the optimization, right? So remember, the algorithm, once you feed the data to it, and you tell it, hey, I want to optimize for sales, I want to optimize for opt-ins, it'll do what you tell it to do, right? But it will get confused if you have all these conversion actions in primary, right? So that's why they say you want to limit it. Let's go ahead and create our conversion action for this particular example, and we're gonna connect it with GTM. So you go to new conversion action. In this case, we want to track actions on a website. Okay, so this is a new thing here where you can add the domain where you're going to set up conversions, and it'll actually scan it. It'll suggest basically what to track on this funnel based on the type of funnel it is. Okay, you do have to go through it here, and it'll scan it, and then it'll say add a conversion action manually. So that's what we're gonna do. And here we're going to select the goal and action optimization. Here, obviously, we want to go for submit lead form. Okay, that's the whole point. So there's a leads category. You can see here there's multiple sales category. If you're doing e-com, right? If it's more lead generation, this is where you do it, right? And depending on what you're going after. So if it's book appointment, do book appointment. If it's signing up for something, question quote. So you have multiple categories here. So I'm gonna do submit lead form in this particular case. And here is where you can change that optimization option, okay? So by default, it will show it as primary. So that's what I'm saying. You need to go in and change these, or even just remove redundant. So I've seen this in a lot of accounts where you have multiple conversion actions, right? Or one conversion action that's duplicated more than 2 times, and you're tracking the same thing. That's not a best practice, because you might think, oh, but it's getting me more conversion, so it's feeding the algorithm. Trust me, that's not how it works. And this is coming from a Google rep directly, okay? A growth rep at that. So these are people that after a certain amount of spend, they guide you through it, and they give you the best practices. They put you in beta lists, okay? In beta testers list, things like that. They're saying just one conversion action, okay? I'm driving that home just so that way you guys understand. You want to simplify your account that way. So we're just going to put an opt-in here. So I'm going to put free guide lead, and the value, just put for leads, I want to put like $1 here just to give it a value. I usually like to do this, especially if I'm looking at data from the Google Ads app. I can actually identify these conversions as a lead, and if it was like a book call, I'll put like $10, things like that. These are things that you can do, and eventually you can actually optimize and create campaigns based on conversion value. Okay, so target conversion value and basically optimize for higher value type of conversions. Okay, so that's something that I strongly recommend you guys start doing. Obviously, if it's if it's a purchase, if it's e-com, it's going to be a little different. You do want to give it the value that of the product, of what it is, right? So let's move down here. Count, I do 1. Okay, it's recommended for leads, and this we can leave as is. Okay, we hit done, and now we just save and continue. All right, so here is where you set up the tag. There are multiple ways to go about this. A lot of folks who are staying away from GTM, maybe just because they haven't had the time, or just they don't like to learn it. But this is the whole point of this tutorial, is so that you can leverage it. Because when you start going into setting up a tag with this, you're going to run into a couple of technical things, right? So you want to install a tag, and then maybe you already had a tag installed. This is going to get a little messy for you, right? But you could still do it, right? The other thing is you can still email instructions to somebody that knows how to add scripts, somebody that's aware. But today we're going to use GTM. That's the whole point of this video. So it makes it very easy. So let me go ahead and break this down. Okay, so we're going to hit this option, use Google Tag Manager. Now here, you actually have some specific instructions here, but that's the whole point of this video, is to simplify it for you. So we have a conversion ID and we have conversion labels, okay? Notice that it takes the name, and we have a specific alphanumeric value here, okay? So this is the way it works. Now we want to go back to our Google Tag Manager, okay? So here, notice that we have a clean slate, a clean container, and we have a couple options. Here we have the new tag. This is where we're going to be creating the tag. We have triggers, okay, which the triggers is basically what's going to fire upon that action, right? So what's going to ensure that this tag fires on for the Google conversion, right? So it tracks the actual conversion. So we're going to get there in a second. We don't have to worry about variables and all of these other advanced things for now. We're just going to focus on tags and triggers. Keep it very simple. Okay, so let's go back and we're going to create a tag. One important thing that you want to do before creating the conversions themselves is adding the conversion linker tag. Here, this in my opinion, this should be in the top so people know, because I've seen people, they try to set up their conversion and then they don't know why it's not firing. If they set it up, they follow certain steps. But this is the first step that you should do. Set up the conversion linker tag. Okay, if you run into this, you just want to refresh it. That's all it is. Okay, so let's set up the conversion linker. I'm gonna go here, just gonna type in the name, tag configuration. You can either search it here, or you can just find it, conversion linker. Here we go. You don't need to worry about any advanced settings here for the time being. And then we want to just select fire on all pages. So now we have our conversion linker. So what's the next step? The next step is to create our conversion tag. Okay, so remember, the first step that we already did is we added this to our funnel. Without adding this to your funnel, nothing's gonna work. Okay, that's the first thing. Second step is setting up the conversion action here. Okay, it's already created, and then we're following the instructions we're setting up with Google Tag Manager. So this information is what we're gonna need shortly. Okay, so let's go ahead and set up the tag, and we're gonna call this basically the same as the conversion, okay, which is right here. LD free guide lead, LD free guide lead, okay? And this one is called Google Ads Conversion Tracking. So now I have a few options here, and we're only going to be concerned about two of them, the conversion ID and the conversion label. Okay, so we have the conversion ID here. All we got to do is just copy and paste it in here, and then the conversion label, just go back, and we have the alphanumeric code here. And all we got to do is hit save. Okay, we don't need to worry about all of this data just yet or advanced settings. All we have to do is hit save, but we're not done yet. We need to create a trigger. So very important. Let's go to the trigger, and we actually are going to choose where this should fire. So before I do this, okay, you start thinking, okay, well, it should fire when somebody opts in, but you want to go back to your funnel, and when somebody goes here, okay, where do they go? So you want to do a quick little test before doing the actual conversion test, right? The preview. So if you do it here, let's see where it takes us. There you go, it redirected to the page. And I really recommend this. I know I've seen a lot of outdated websites or funnels where they just don't redirect. It just kind of says, oh, thank you for submitting. And it's based on a button click. While you can track button clicks on GTM as well, because you can track pretty much about anything, I strongly recommend you to create a thank you page and have a redirected page. It's just gonna make life so much easier on your tracking and on the actual setup itself, okay? Notice that here we got redirected to this thank you page. So this path here is what we need. So we're gonna go back to Tag Manager, and here we're not gonna select all pages. We don't want this to fire on all pages. Okay, we want this to fire on specific pages. So we could actually do the change here. Here's the trigger configuration, and it's gonna be page view. And we're not gonna do all page views again. We're gonna do some page views. And we're gonna do page path contains this. And that's basically gonna be free guide thank you page. And that's our trigger, right? So this is what's gonna allow this conversion to show up here in the conversion tracking. So we're gonna go ahead and hit save, and we have our opt-in conversion set up. So let's go ahead and do a preview of this as well as in Google Ads. So there's a couple of ways you can go about it. So we're gonna do it here, and then you have the domain there. Go ahead and hit connect. Now, very important, something before I do the test here, is you want to ensure that your thank you page, so go to your thank you page on your funnel, and you want to make sure that it's also there, okay, that the GTM script is also on that page. Okay, so locate it, and that is very important. You go to that thank you page and go to the scripts and make sure that the GTM script is also added on that page. That is very important. So let's go ahead and go back here. We're going to do this test. Notice this is the debug information. If you go to this tag, you're going to see, well, why is that flickering like that? Don't worry, it's connected. That's all you need to care about, okay? So notice that a conversion link is fired on this particular page. What we want to fire is this tag, which is the Google Ads conversion that we just set up. Here, we actually want to hit done before we start the test. So there's the conversion right here, free guide. And let's go back to the test here. There you go. So let's go back, and tags fired. You can click in here, you can see the information, right? It's a very simple conversion tracking setup on the opt-in. And here you could also do the same thing. It says unverified. All you gotta do is just click troubleshoot and just follow the same step. Follow the same step, and it will change that particular or unverified to no recent conversions, which is what you want, right? There you go. So go back, and there you go. But this is how you set up the conversion tracking. And remember, when you're setting up the campaign, to end the video, when you're setting up the campaign, so I'm just gonna do a quick little test here, right? So let's say leads. Here is what I wanted to show you. Okay, you see all these conversion goals? You wanna optimize for one specific, right? If it's just a lead magnet that you're gonna be optimizing for, so when you're setting up your campaigns, you go and set up, if it's for leads, so in this particular example, we want opt-ins, we want lead magnets, leads. So why do you need book appointments? Why do you need outbound clicks or page views, right? So we get rid of those, and you just basically leave the ones that we want to optimize for, which is submit lead forms. Notice that there's 5 actions here. Okay, you don't need all of this, right? So you want to remove these from your conversion actions. That's very important that you do that. So that way it's a simplified optimization setup here. So that way you're telling Google, hey, this is what I want. Okay, I want leads, and that's just going to simplify the account. It's going to simplify the algorithm to ensure that it gets you more of those conversions. Okay, so you hit continue and basically just go through the setup as usual. And in this video, we're gonna be walking you through creating your first Google ad campaign. We're in the Google Ads account, so the first thing that you wanna do here, once you're in that creation process, is create campaign, new campaign. Okay, very basic. So I do want to mention before we go through the campaign objectives is that you want to make sure that you have the Google Ads account set up properly, right? As well as the Google conversion tracking. With the campaign objective, you're going to have various options here to choose from. So you have from sales, leads, website traffic, product and brand consideration to brand awareness reach, app promotion. So if you have an app that you want installs for, local store visits and promotions, and create a campaign without a goals guidance. Okay, so typically if we're talking about a YouTube ad campaign, I'd like to go through this create a campaign without a goals guidance. In this case, we are creating a Google search campaign. So I can also select this one, right, which gives me a little bit of freedom of different subtype objectives to choose from, but I can also do leads as well, right? So if I do leads, notice that if you already have conversion action set up, you're gonna have a few of these pop up here, okay? Now, if you have things that show up like inactive conversion actions, these are things that maybe the tags were removed, right? So you might wanna look into those particular actions, right? So there are other actions that show up as green, so it means that these are definitely running and they're okay to use. So that's the first thing. Here, you want to ask yourself what the objective is, right? So you can select the right options, right? You could actually even remove them from here, okay? Don't be afraid to hit remove, right? This is just based on this particular campaign. But if, let's say, you're not really concerned about any outbound clicks, this is something that you could actually go without, right? That's not a problem. If you want to focus more on purchases, right? If your account is more like e-com, right? And you want to aim for purchases, then maybe this is the only goal that you want to focus on. If you want to focus on leads and book calls, then maybe you just want to leave lead form, right? Submit lead form actions and the book appointment conversion goals. And then everything else you can basically remove. So let's just assume here, just for testing purposes, that we just want to leave these ones on here, right? We don't want the page views. We don't really want to optimize our campaign for page views. We want to optimize for leads and book calls. So we just leave these two as is, okay? So that is going to be our first step. The next thing is the campaign type, right? So obviously in our particular example, we're just going to do a search campaign, but you do have different options here, right? So you have the Performance Max, which you're able to use all of the other Google properties, which include display, Gmail, search, as well as YouTube. So it's an automated campaign, okay, that collects, let's say, all the assets that you give it, and it will transform it into an omni-channel, or in this case, omni-network type of campaign, okay? And it's just automated, right? And you can choose your audiences, very normal. So we actually have a video on the Performance Max setup up here if you want to take a look at it, or we'll also leave it in the description. Display, it's basically that, the images that when you're logging into different websites or navigating and you see all these ads, you just visited adidas.com and you have these shoes that you just saw following you around, then those are usually display ads that these companies are using via shopping ads, right? This is another way. Shopping ads can also display on different website partner networks, things like that. And of course, video, you have the YouTube ad videos that we are known for, which is the drive conversion, video action campaigns that we create to drive conversions, whether it's leads, book calls, or sales, okay? Discovery are also a very good format to choose from if you want to just get more brand awareness, you want to jump in front of people on YouTube, Gmail, as well as the Discover app for Google and other platforms, okay? The search one is the one that we want to focus on today, so we're just going to go with search, okay? In this case, we want, let's say, lead form submissions. And again, here, the naming convention on the campaign name, that is something that you'll want to, consider yourself. You don't really like to add a date, describe what type of campaign is it, if it's a top of funnel or a cold prospecting campaign. So, just to give you guys an idea, again, you can do it as you please, but this is good for organizational purposes. So this is kind of like our format. And if you guys want this format, just message us and we'll get in touch with you, and you can take a sneak peek at our naming convention of how we actually break down our campaign naming conventions, okay? So now that we have that information, we will continue. Okay, so here it's asking me to create a new campaign or finish a saved draft, so we're gonna actually start new. Okay, so the bidding strategy. So here, again, very important, before you go through this process, and I'll mention it a second time, you need to have conversion tracking installed and set up properly in order for you to actually utilize this bidding strategies, okay? If you don't have conversion tracking, you're not gonna be able to use target CPA or conversions the proper way, okay? So ideally, this is where you want to check that information in case you're wondering, but we do have a video that explains the conversion tracking in general, and you can see here in conversions, okay, once you go to tools and settings, conversions, you can see all the conversions that are set up, right? Things that are inactive. So again, this is just a test account, so you're not gonna see all the data, but you'll be able to see if there's any data here. If there's any actual conversions coming through, it'll show up here, right?
They will show up. So very important aspect before considering the bid. Okay, but on the bid here, what we want to focus on is maybe conversions to start. If you have enough data on your account, but if you're watching this, I'm assuming this is the first time you're running Google Ads, so you'll definitely want to go with conversions and do max conversions at this point, okay, as far as your Google search campaign goes. So that's going to allow you to, or allow the algorithm to really maximize to try to get you as many conversions as possible. Again, and this would only be possible if you set up the conversion tracking properly. So we hit next. Okay, now in networks, if we're just focusing on, again, the search campaign, this is very important, is you want to deselect display network, okay? So they do talk about, oh, it's, you'll get an additional conversion that's similar or lower cost in search with unused search budget. So, but we want to focus all our budget on the Google search network, okay? The Google search results, and when people search for the terms that are relevant, to your offer, product or service. Okay, this is very basic. Location, just select the location, United States in this case. If you're a local company, right, or have a brick and mortar, then here you want to maybe get more specific, not do nationwide, but you want to do a specific location. If you're, just in Orlando, Florida, you want to just target specific locations to Orlando, or let's say even zip codes, right? So remember, you can actually do zip codes and base it off of that, right? So check this out here. So that is solely dependent on your objective and where you are in the market, right? And if you want to target, again, if you have an offer that is nationwide, it's a virtual offer, or that anybody can buy in the US, then target the US, right? There's obviously other factors you can experiment with, targeting specific US cities, right? Major US cities to start. There's a couple of options that you have there, but for now, we're just gonna do US. Okay, so one thing that a lot of people miss, and this including me at the beginning, right? So 7 or 8 years ago when I started doing this, is in the location options, you have target location, this particular aspect, and it says presence or interest. So if you select this option, you're gonna target people regularly in or have shown interest in your targeted location. So what that means is it's not necessarily gonna target people living there as well. So anybody actually looking for, let's say, traveling down to United States or traveling to Orlando, that doesn't necessarily mean that you're targeting outside of the US, but in order to also avoid any spam clicks or invalid clicks from other countries, which it does happen with Google Ads at times, then you want to select people in or regularly in your targeted locations. Okay, this will help with that particular aspect. Very important. Languages is very, very basic. I mean, if your offer is in Spanish, then just put in Spanish, right? Very basic. If it's in English, and and so on, depending on the country that you're at and the market that you're targeting. Okay. Now, audience segments for search campaigns. Here you can actually do if you want to target it, but in reality, we normally don't use targeting. Okay, we do observational or even just leave it blank. Observational, what it does, you will be able to see in the audience segment, advertising and marketing services, and how many clicks are in people that are in that particular cohort of people looking for those specific services show up, and if there's actually even conversions there, but not necessarily that they're attributed to that, because you're going to see later on in the keywords which keywords are driving the results for your campaign, right? But again, normally we will leave these out, right? These audience segments, but you can add them to your campaign if you'd like, right? And basically, it's something that you can experiment with. The next thing here you'll see is automatically created assets. Okay, so with automatically created assets, you're kind of letting Google decide, hey, here's my content, right? So just kind of at the beginning when we set up the account in the previous video, it scans your website, right? It scans your website and it'll show you, okay, Google Analytics is installed, this website, it scans the entire thing and it crawls it for all the specific, let's say, keywords or the keyword density on the account, on the website, excuse me, and basically tell you, okay, it'll tell Google, this is the offer, right? This is the type of people that I'm looking for on my campaign. So this is what you would do if you wanted to use dynamic, right? So if you select this, it's going to create some assets around the landing page, around basically the relevance of what the offer is, right? So it's a combination of the landing page, domain, and ads. That's what it's telling you now, right? So you can try it out. I mean, we've tried it in the past. Not the best results. I would say mixed results, just to say that it's not that it didn't completely, it did not perform to our liking, okay? So in this case, we leave it off, right? But this would be another way that you can leverage the tools, right? The automated tools that Google provides. Okay, so if you hit other settings, you're gonna see other options here. This is ad rotation, optimize prefer best performing ads. We normally leave that as default. We don't really change that. As far as the dates, if you have an end date, so if you have a promotional campaign that lasts a month, 2 months, 3 months, then you might want to put an end date to this, right? If you have some sort of discount that you want to give away for a specific month, then this might be useful for you. If not, then you can just kind of go without that. Ad schedule, we normally do all day. But again, this would be for more broader, kind of make money online type of niches where we're targeting the entire US
right? Or entire countries. If you have a brick and mortar, or if you have, for example, I've done local dentistry ads, right? So for local dentists, they have a specific calendar, right? Or work schedule from 8 to 5 or 8 to 6, Monday through Friday, Saturdays from 8 to 1. And you want your ads to show on those specific days that you know you're gonna have somebody on the phones picking it up, then that's what you do. You just go in here and you select according to that. But if your offer is, it's 24/7 an online offer where they can just kind of book a call, they can submit and watch your video training and then book a call at any time, then don't limit yourself, okay? Just put it all day. Okay, and then campaign URL options. This is more advanced tracking information, right? So if you have a UTM tracking templates that you want to use for tracking purposes, this is where you would add it as well. It's just one of the options. You can do it on the ad group level. You can add the tracking template there, or in the final URL on the ads themselves, right? So, but again, if you're just watching this to kind of get your campaign going, you may not need to worry about this right now. Okay, so now we move on to the keyword section. Okay, so here you have a few options, okay? And this would be our recommendation is, first of all, you want to do keyword research, okay? So you can leave this tab open and you want to go to the keyword planner and maybe even have some alternate ideas, right? Like the keywords everywhere tool. So we use this as well. I know we've used SEMrush as well to get some ideas of, what keywords to bid for depending on your offer, right? So, if you have, so let's say your offer is dog training, say in Orlando, Florida. So dog training Orlando, then you could actually limit it by that, right? And just kind of see what the actual live auction, what the information or what data will show up for this particular search, right? So you can see here, there's actual search volume for dog training in Orlando, right? So these may be some of the keywords that you want to use: puppy training, dog training light Orlando, elite, dog training Orlando prices. So you can create a plan within the keywords, okay, here. So you can literally just go and copy these keywords and you could actually even paste them in here, okay? Very simple. Or if you want to do a deeper analysis on these keywords, what you want to do is maybe come up with a theme, right? So let's say dog training Orlando, that's one particular theme. This is one theme that you want to do for this ad group, and you can actually save these, right? You can add the keywords to create a plan, the one that I just selected, and these are kind of the main ones, let's say, that you want to use. You could also do an export, right? You can download these keyword ideas over here, add them as the Google Sheets, for example, that we can go back and analyze them. So this is a very important part. So don't rush through this. We're doing this as a tutorial, a step-by-step guide. So I would not rush through this particular part, okay? Just to kind of get your ad running, because this will be what will define your campaign from serving, from actually working, getting your clicks and getting your conversions right away, okay? So what I strongly suggest you do is take a step back, really think about what it is that you're offering. If you're offering a specific service that people are already looking for, how are people looking for that service? Okay, what are the alternate keywords? So these are very relevant keywords. Now, we can do something very similar and say, you know what, I'm gonna do dog training Orlando prices. So you could actually take this keyword and go here and you're gonna see different results, right? Maybe not a lot. So here's some. So this looks like another company, like a competitor, right? Dog training Orlando, Florida. So just do your analysis, right? There might be some keywords that you might be missing out on because you're not doing a full analysis or full research on these keywords. Does that make sense? So definitely take the time to come up with a plan for your campaign and not just throw in a whole bunch of keywords in there. Theme your keywords, right? So maybe ad group one, the way that we want to set it up is this is going to be dog training Orlando related, right? So anything related to Orlando dog training, puppy training, service dog training, maybe these are 4 or 5 keywords I want to include in here, then that is going to be my theme for this ad group and for this particular ad. So obviously I'm just doing an example here, but that's essentially how you go through this process, right? And create a responsive search campaign to try and maximize the results that you need. So once you go through this entire process, take your time in creating effective ad copy, right? So obviously you can leverage tools like ChatGPT nowadays to create some ad copy for you, but really think about what your competition is doing. So you can even just do the search yourself, dog training Orlando, right? So these are different things that you can do. Here's a few ideas, right? And it's not to copy these ideas, but rather just kind of get an idea of how you could do the ad yourself, right? So best Orlando dog training. So obviously this is something that you can bid for, right? If somebody's putting dog training Orlando, notice that it's showing up for dog training, okay? Not necessarily Orlando, but yeah, these are some of the ideas that you can get from just doing a research, right? Doing quick research on the account. So once you have your ad and everything is reviewed, then your account will go live. But again,
the way that I would set up the Google ad campaign is by themes, right? And maybe do 2 or 3 themes on the ad group and make sure that the ad is relevant to that. So, okay, so we're gonna speed ahead to the video and once I'm gonna create some sample ads here, and then we'll go to the next part. Okay guys, so we're gonna do an example with a search ad that we had already created, and you're gonna notice the different components that we used, okay? And you can see a couple of things that we already added. So from a keyword perspective, notice that this has to do with YouTube marketing, right? It has to do with YouTube marketing companies, YouTube advertising agencies. So these are the keywords that we're going for, that we're bidding for in this particular ad. This is a live campaign. You know, we've actually gotten some leads from this and some clicks. So this is the setup here, okay? Very similar to what I showed you, you know, using the example of dog training, but essentially you need to get creative with your copy, your headlines, right? So notice, you know, this is very specific to what people's pain points are, right? People are trying to scale their advertising efforts. So we mentioned the word scale, ready to scale your YouTube ads, okay? Spend 25K per day on YouTube, you know, make YouTube ads work for you. So, you know, just really think about your offer and how you want to present it, but in a way that you need to think about the big pain points of people searching for your product or service, right? And go off of that problem solution, right? A problem-centric solution within your copy, okay? So, you know, YouTube ads agency, we make YouTube ads work, make YouTube ads work for you, right? So there's a lot of variations here. In the headlines, notice the descriptions, learn what it takes to spend 25K a day profitably on YouTube. Book free call today with the CTA. You want to have a clear call to action, right, within the CTA. So again, using the good dog training example, if you have dog training course, maybe it's, hey, you know, get our dog training course now, right? Or buy our dog training course. Or if it's a local, you know, book a call or book an appointment for dog training, things like that. So there's various things that do make up a good Google ad. So notice, you know, it does have good headlines, have some questions in the headlines, right? Need a YouTube ad agency. What else do you see here? You see the business logo, you have the business name. Yeah, so you can add some images here as well. This is something that's relatively new and Google's been pushing for it for, I guess, a few months, maybe even more than that, but not necessarily something that you need, right? But you can just kind of add it in here. It should help. You'll notice sometimes in the recommendations, hey, you know, add some images here, increase your optimization score by X percentage, things like that. So the site links as well, you can notice the site links here. You can make them from the account settings, right from the account, or basically just, you know, modify them accordingly, right? And just use them for these particular campaigns. So this is a campaign level site link. So that's pretty much it. And once you have the campaign, like I said, if you save the ad and you publish the campaign, your campaign will go live, but you definitely want to take time within your campaign to do the keyword research, okay? So I can't stress that enough, that these are some of the things that will either make or break your particular campaign, okay? Is ensuring that your keyword setup, it's the proper one, right? So the keyword research is the main thing that you want to spend more time on your account, and as well as having some good copy, ensuring that you have good keyword research and a good keyword setup within your campaign and the structure. That's gonna either make or break your campaign. Now, you know, it can work right away, or it might struggle to maybe spend. You might get some very high cost clicks. You know, you can see here, there's definitely some research that you can do based on what type of offer or service you have. There's high competition blue collar services out there, like lawn mowing services, you know, house painting services, pressure washing, you know, ceramic painting for cars, things like that, ceramic coating. And there's other niches maybe that they're not as competitive, but nowadays there's business everywhere. And, you know, if you're just starting out with Google Ads, don't stress out. You can definitely compete with the big dogs out there. We've done it before with dentists. We've done it with other type of niches, you know, and lawyers. And I've done lawyer type of advertising. It comes down to a few things. Having a good setup, okay, as you can see, it's a very straightforward setup based on the step-by-step within your Google ad campaign. Ensuring that your website or your landing page where you're driving traffic to loads up fast, right? That it's easy to navigate. You know, the headline's very clear what you're offering. So that's something that normally isn't discussed in a lot of these tutorials, but I can tell you that you want to ensure that all the steps in the funnel are there, okay? That the user experience, it goes a long way. You know, you don't just want to create a campaign and go live, but then if you send it to like a crappy page or, you know, a slow loading website or landing page, you're not going to get the results that you need, right? So really think about landing page CRO optimization. Think about what would be better ways to convert, you know, people that are interested in your offer, right? So take all these things into account. It's not just about, okay, I just saw the tutorial. It's good for you to understand step by step what buttons to click, how to set up the campaigns a specific way. But more importantly, is how to convert these users, how to convert these potential customers into paid clients, right? At the end of the day, into leads that can pay you money, right? That at the end of the day, that's what makes advertising, I mean, in my opinion, it makes it fun, is like really trying to make it work. Is like, okay, we got people interested. How can we get them from potential customer to customer, okay? And there's just a lot of moving pieces. And this is just one piece. This tutorial is gonna help you get your foot in the door of advertising, but from there, you have to tweak different things. So it may be that your website is just not strong enough, or your landing page, it doesn't convert well enough because the copy is off, or you don't have enough testimonials there to really validate your offer, whatever it may be. But these are other steps later on in that funnel, right, in that customer journey, that you need to take into account before you actually invest heavily on Google Ads. But once you have all these things in play and you start getting conversions, then that it gets exciting. And now you can optimize accordingly. You can test different things and get the results that you're looking for. So that's a piece of advice today, is follow this tutorial, but don't forget about the basics. Don't forget about your messaging. Don't forget about the user experience. Make it, super fast loading website, to the point, offer, messaging, some videos, some images on your landing page. You have a very simple contact form, or phone number that's clearly visible, that it has the call out link, that way people can reach out to you right away. So there's a few things in there that we discussed. Take these things into account, and I guarantee you're gonna start seeing results very soon. How to link your Google Ads account to your GA4 property. So let's dive into the screen here. Okay, so the first thing that you need is to obviously have admin access, to ensure you have admin access to both your Google Ads account and your GA4 property, right? So that's very important. The way you can check that is if you go to Account Access Management, you can see the different access that you have, right? So you might have something like this. In this particular case, I do have access to the account, but there are certain roles and limitations. So just ensure that you're the administrator on the account. Next thing is make sure you have GA4 set up and that you're within that property, right? You may see a different property here, but you want to ensure that you're in the GA4 property. You can go to Setup Assistant, but the next set of steps is connecting to your Google Ads account. So here you can actually manage Google Ads link. You can also do import from Universal Analytics. So we're going to go through a couple options, right? So let's go through manage Google Ads links first, and then you can also do it the other way. So here, notice there are no Google Ad account being linked to this account yet. You could also do import, and you could do it this way, right? So this is actually the Links digital account that I want to link. The other way would be just linking here, and it's the exact same thing. You just kind of go through the process and find the proper account. So I like simplified option, so we can just go here, import selected ad links. A little bit of a warning, it says by choosing imported selected Google Ads, you'll make data from your GA4 property available to use in Google Ads, which is what we want. And here we go. So it's been imported. All you got to do is just do a little refresh. Notice that you have user access here. You have the enable personalized advertising information here. You want to turn it on. And then the next thing would be importing into Google Ads. So notice that it does say it may take up to 24 hours for your Google Ads link to begin displaying data. You can also start with creating the remarketing audience inside analytics. So there's a few options in here. Let's see if we can import some conversions. Let's go back to our setup assistant. Here we can do a little mark as complete. And here, bid on GA4 conversions. So it's very important that from the conversions in the previous property that this is already set up, right? It's already imported. Okay, so the next thing is you want to go to the actual Google Ads account that you just linked your GA4 property to. You go to Tools and Settings, Conversions, and you'll see a page like this. So notice that I don't have any GA4 properties in here. I do have however, a Google Analytics conversion set up here. But what I want to do is create a new conversion action. You can do import, and notice that this will show up, right? If it is set, if you already have Google Analytics 4 property set up, it will show up. If not, it will give you that option to create it. So you go here, and there we go. So notice I have that purchase conversion, and all I have to do is right? So this is the only one that's available for import for this particular property, right? So if you want to change that, you'll need to create more events inside your property. Okay, so once you go in here, you go to your audiences. Again, this is the one that has been imported, but you could obviously create another audience, right? Just based. And we do have a video on how to create audiences. You can see the link up here, how to create audiences specifically, let's say, traffic to Facebook from Facebook ads, how to utilize that for Google Ads as well. You can leverage it, and there's gonna be a link right here for you to do that. But this is essentially how you would create the audiences. And we do have another video that covers this particular aspect, but that is basically what you wanna do in order to have more of these events imported. Okay, so notice I'm just gonna go ahead and import and continue, and boom, we're done. So now we have
have that particular GA4 event firing here. Okay, there you have it, guys. Very simple, very straightforward. We hope to hear from you on the comments below. If you have any questions, follow-up questions for us. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, turn on your notifications to get notified when we drop some more videos your way. Take care.